What's good, everybody? Now, I am absolutely thrilled to be blessed with beta access from the Silver Palace devs for me to be able to stream it to you guys and to be sponsored to make a video review today. Now, I want to preface by saying something very, very important. Everything I'm saying in this video are my genuine, honest thoughts, and the devs have been very outspoken that they are looking for feedback for their game. So everything that I am going to be talking about is my genuine opinion, and we're going to split up into a couple of parts. We're going to talk about the story, we're going to talk about the combat and how it actually works, we're going to talk about the two game modes that they have, and then we're going to talk about the open world, the exploration, and all the fun stuff about the game too. So first of all, let's talk about narrative and story. This is, by all accounts, a detective-based narrative. We are literally the detective. We have returned to this city called Silvernia after 3 years. We used to be here, we had to leave, and now we've been called back in to crack a very, very important case. And surprise, surprise, we have an MC that doesn't have amnesia. They're able to recall their past. They have a past. They have a history that we have to uncover as we play through the game. Uncover their family, their history, their powers. There are things that the MC knows that the player does not know. And we are immediately intrigued to find out more about this character, which really plays into this whole detective thing. Not only are we trying to play along with the MC to figure out the case that's before us and uncover this mystery, but we're also playing detective to figure out their motives as well, which I think is wholly interesting. And I really love that dynamic, because here's the thing: detective stories are one of the most notorious and well-known genres of narrative writing that is really hard to do. Okay, detective stories are so hard to do because you have to be clever. You have to be clever when you write your story, okay? Because not only do you have to plan a whole crime scene and plot that is interesting, the way you then have to tell that plot and story and reveal it to the actual player has to be engaging, and that is not easy. Okay, that can be particularly difficult. So that's why, like, alarm bells kind of go when we have a game like this that's diving into a deep narrative that is the most notorious types of narratives to do when it comes to detective stories. I'm like, oh my goodness, I'm worried. Okay, because if you go with a plot or a scenario that seems implausible to the player, because don't forget, the player is trying to solve the mystery along with the MC. If you present a situation that doesn't seem right, that seems implausible, you're gonna think that it's a bit BS, right? We smell the BS and we're like, oh, okay, like whatever, and it feels kind of like you kind of like hand wave it off. A good mystery has to be plausible and also interesting, and so far Silver Palace is absolutely racking up my interest. It really is. Like, there are so many points where I'm just like, okay, I'm intrigued. What happens next and what comes next, which is a good hallmark of a detective story at its core. Secondly, it means that obviously we are playing as the detective, and it's very important for the detective to be the one responsible for kind of revealing a lot of information, or being the one to kind of deduce stuff for the player to receive. And that means something very important. That means it's really important that the MC actually talks, because they are supposed to be revealing information to us, the players. And guess what? That happens. We have an MC that actually speaks a lot. In fact, I'm pretty sure they speak the most out of every character that we've come across so far, and continue to do so. So that is a absolute huge W. So we already have an MC, a character that goes against the grain of what we've already seen already. A character with a backstory that we are figuring out ourselves, uncovering their own mystery as we play the game, and also one that is not afraid to speak, and they have a personality. They actually have a personality, and you know, I think this is great. I think this is so different, and it's so refreshing in terms of the actual, you know, main character that you want to engage with and play. And they're very likable. They're extremely likable. Speaking of the MC, the character design is out of this world. Genuinely out of this world. And this is, by the way, an Unreal Engine 5 game. And like, even the holster that the gun is in is extremely detailed. The outfit design, everything. speaks to me in so many ways. Whoever designed this, I want to give you a handshake, like honestly, because like it's so well done, and the fidelity is so awesome, and they honestly really kind of cook with this, and the VAs are absolutely fantastic in this game. Another reason why going for this detective narrative is very much like a brave choice, because detective narratives are something that rely a lot on deducing the psyche of other characters, right? You inherently have to be speaking to a whole host of characters, understanding their backstories, the way they think, and that naturally opens up a deeper level of narrative into what you're engaging with, because you have to. You, the player, want to get inside the heads of all the characters you interact with, because who could it be? Who could be the people responsible? So that's why I'm really excited to see how they take this, because it inherently means you have to care about the characters that you create, and they've definitely done that in this main story so far, because I noticed something really interesting. Okay, we speak to a lot of different characters when we play the main story, and something interesting that kept coming up is that we're never in one place for too long. We speak to one character in a certain scenario for like 5-10 minutes, and then immediately we completely go to another location to do another thing. It's not just to do another thing, talk to another character and undergo more gameplay. Everything keeps moving and feels fresh, and there isn't a point where I'm like, oh, this dialogue's dragging on for too long, or we're not really progressing much in the story. We're constantly taken from place to place, talking to new characters, getting new information that feels really good. Like nothing feels like it's dragging for me, which is really important for me when it comes to telling a pretty good story. And it's not the case of like, oh, like talking to character, cutscene, fight, talking to character, cutscene, fight. You actually have to engage in some gameplay mechanics. Maybe you'll have to do some exploration, maybe you'll have to do a puzzle, or maybe you will have to fight, or maybe you'll have to undergo some sort of deductions or clues. And we have this evidence board right here, because currently we're in the middle of solving a big case, of solving a case and solving a mystery. And it's so interesting how this clue system works. So we're able to go in, replay events, and we can collect evidence. We can collect evidence as we go through the story, add it all together, and we're able to like draw conclusions for what might be happening next. And this essentially acts as like a timeline for what's happening in these cases. And it's a really cool way of looking back on the story, but this is also something you engage with as well. As you're playing through the story, you might encounter a certain area and you're like, okay, we're collecting more evidence, and you can do that. And as you slot it in, the MC starts talking and starts to make deductions about the case and the investigation. And honestly, they've clearly put a lot of effort into this, and this is how they want to reveal the story to people. And I think it's like an absolute like W. I really do. And they're not afraid to explore dark themes. I'm not gonna lie, within the first like hour or two, it gets pretty dark, like straight away, and we're like, oh, okay, this is dark. They're not afraid to kind of like go in and be like, yep, there's a murder, but it's a pretty brutal one, and they're not afraid to show it either. And I think that speaks a lot. That speaks a lot to the authenticity of what they're trying to do here, which I think is a pretty positive thing. So overall, when it comes to story and narrative, I'm very impressed so far, and I'm going to continue to play the story. I'm going to finish it up, and I will probably expand my thoughts on a later video about the story and its direction and where it will go, and where I see like any issues or potential faults. But right now, I'm just trying to take everything in one at a time. I think for me, the thing that could have the biggest improvement would be facial animations when characters are talking. The VAs do an absolutely phenomenal job, by the way. Like, this is like some of my favorite cast of people we've had in one of these kinds of games, and I don't think the facial animations do them like immense justice right now. But again, this is the first beta, and that's something that they can absolutely, we know from other games, this is something that can absolutely be improved on as time goes on. So I'm not worried about that, but that's really like the biggest thing that I have right now is to have the emotions of the characters kind of match what people are saying and feeling. So that would kind of be my first thing in terms of the story. So let's talk about combat and the gameplay and gearing and all that kind of fun thing. And I have basically one word that I have to summarize everything: simplicity. Silver Palace keeps it simple, but it also surprisingly manages to keep it fun at the same time. And this is something that I really like. This is a 4-person party game. Okay, so you have 4 slots, 4 different characters that you could freely switch between at any time. Okay, and if we go into characters and their abilities, I will show you exactly how this all looks. Okay, we have here, which is like the skill trees that we're kind of used to. We have a bunch of different things. Obviously, we have a basic attack that we're all used to. We have basic ones. They also have a charged attack variant. We have a skill. Okay, so basic, so we've got basic attack, charged attack, skill. We have an ultimate. Okay, we've got an ultimate. We have an ambush skill. I'll explain how that works. And then we have a passive. So things that were concepts that we're kind of used to. These kits are really easy to understand. We're not looking at like kits that are really long. I know these are the base characters and it's like this for all games when they start out with their like 1.0 launches, but like this skill is just like a couple of sentences and it makes it really obvious what exactly it's supposed to be and what is exactly it's supposed to do. There's no guessing. There's no guessing with how these characters work. They tell you straight up and it's pretty simple. And I think that's the beauty of it. I think people like being able to read a kit and actually be able to understand what exactly happens and what exactly everything does, and not have to look at a guide for what is the best rotation possible. Like, well, you know, you can still do that with this game. It's nice that these characters just have something that like,
what's broken?
It's pretty straightforward to see. We have a 4-person party team system here that you could freely switch between any character at any time. It's important to note, look at the bottom middle of our screen. We have a bar to the left underneath our level, which is our HP. We have something in the middle, which is called our reactor, which is a thing that could be filled up with a resource that we can then use to generate ambush skills. I'll explain more of that. And to the right is unique to every character. It is your skill, basically. And how you interact with that depends on what character you use. But let's just get into exactly how this works. So the whole main point of combat when it comes to Silver Palace is by filling up your reactor, that thing in the middle. So you will be able to fill it up by hitting and attacking enemies. They will then drop a resource called Silver Drip, which will then be collected. You will be able to collect. It fills up your reactor, and then you will get an ambush skill once it fills up. And then you could do this 3 times over. So you could save your ambush skills, so then when you swap into another character, that character will then use the ambush skill that they have to deal damage or whatever that skill may be. So let me go and demonstrate this very quickly for you guys. Also, this is a very parry heavy combat system. A very, very parry heavy combat system. So here we go. So here we go. I'm gonna mess this up massively just to kind of show you what exactly is happening. So I'm attacking the enemy right now. And you can see that I'm generating silver drip around. It's like there's little purple things that you could see when I do my parries, when I do my dodges, whatever it is, when I'm attacking. It drops these little purple things on the ground, and that is called silver drip, and that is filling up my bar in the middle, which is called my reactor. Okay, and now I have a little this white triangle. That is the ambush skill. So once you filled up the reactor, you gain an ambush skill, and you can have up to 3 of them. So you could store them, which I think is really cool because it means you have a bit of freedom to decide when you want to actually use the ambush skills of your team. So you could save them for important moments when you're downing enemies, or for a piece of combat that you think is going to maximize the damage that you are going to do. You're not really bound to like a rotation. That is a takedown right there. So once they're staggered and stunned and you have a takedown you can use by pressing F, you can deal a lot of damage. So right now I have 3 ambush skills. So I'm going to press 1.
Out of my way.
And Cinderella is doing, that was her ambush skill. So it kind of looks a little bit like intros. And obviously we have an ultimate right here. And Cinderella here, this character is very Cinderella is very, very cool. Obviously, look at all that silver drip that we're generating. She has a gun. The parry window is really tight, by the way. If you don't parry it in time, you will just do like a dodge you can counter. But the actual counter attack parry itself is a very, very tight window. So here we go. So I'm going to use that, maximize her skill. There we go. Right, so now I have 3 ambush attacks I can use. I can use number 3. I can use her ult. She uses her ambush. I can use her ultimate right here. And she looks kind of interesting. She has shields that you can hold down. The longer you hold it, it also gives a buff to your team. I missed that. I missed that takedown right there. But I'm here just to kind of show you how the combat like actually works. So you have your parries, you have your basic attacks, you have your charge attacks, all that good stuff. Back into the MC. There we go. Ultimate. This is not a rotation of how to play these characters. I'm purely showing you how like the resources work and generate. So it's really, really, really straightforward. A lot of parrying, hitting the enemies, doing takedowns. Everything lets you get silver drip, which is a shared resource between every single character. It's not that one character has their own unique reactor, fuel. It's shared between every character. The ambush points are shared between everyone. So it gives you a lot more freedom in how you actually want to play with the team. Like, oh, maybe you'll save up your ambush points and use them when the enemy is more open to attacks and not running away from you or something like that. And I think, honestly, that kind of freedom is pretty cool. And as you saw, some characters, including the MC, have access to ranged weapons, which make things pretty interesting and fun as well. So let's talk about weapons and gearing and buffs and all that kind of awesome thing. So there aren't weapons in the traditional sense, but we do have some. Now, important to note that every character has they have attributes to them, but they also have like a class. So we have hero, guardian, outlaw, victim, savior, and witness. So these are these are like paths or identities that these characters will kind of follow that will lean into a certain kind of gameplay style. For example, hero characters are very much your forward-facing damage dealers. Your saviors are people who can heal. Your witnesses are people that can provide buffs to your team. Victims might be someone that deal with dots, that sort of thing. And then we have the attributes. So you have a identity and then you have the attribute. So yeah, there's a lot. Gravitas, Ignis, Glacies, Fulmin, Radiatio, Ferrugo, Alba. There is a lot. Okay, there's a lot of different combinations, and every character will have an attribute and they will have an identity, and they can equip the motive of that corresponding identity. So the MC is under the hero identity, so we can equip them with hero motives. And these are essentially going to be your weapons. Now, when it comes to gearing, the gear that you will collect, you will spend stamina on and roll for substats, because look, we can see that we've got a whole list of substats right here. We've got a lot of them. So how's the gearing system? There isn't one. Not really, at least not in this beta. I don't know if that means it will be something that will be coming in another beta, or the devs have decided to take a different approach and not include it in this game, but they've kind of replaced it with something different. They've replaced it with something called Catalyst. So I'll show you how this works. If we go to the partner tab and click adjust reactor, I'm gonna be honest, bit of feedback to the devs, this should be its own screen and you should call it Catalysts. Okay, this should not be under partners. This should be under its own screen called Catalyst, to make it very obvious. And this is essentially how you're going to make each individual character kind of stand out, and there's a lot of freedom that comes along with this. So this is the Catalyst screen, and you could see we have our party of 4 here, and they have 3 different slots each, which means every character can equip up to 3 different catalysts. Now, these catalysts will provide different buffs. It will change the way that your skills will work and interact, and you could choose who to put on what. But there is a catch. You are limited by power. You can only have a certain amount of catalysts active at a certain time. So I'm just going to pick a random catalyst and I could equip it and it will cost 1 power. The second catalyst that I want to equip for the same character will now cost 2. If I want a third catalyst, this will now cost 4. So I can have one character with 7 I can have one character with 3 catalysts, but it will require a power limit of 7. I have now filled my power limit. I'm not able to give catalysts to anybody else in my team. The way to get more power is by raising your crisis level. And your crisis level is, you know, the overall union level, that kind of thing. The general level that you increase by playing the game, reputation, doing all your quests, that sort of thing. So you'll increase over time. So with an increase in crisis level, you will increase your power limit. And also by playing through the story and grabbing characters, you will also be able to have different catalysts as well that you'll be able to slot in to your team so long as they meet the attributes required to do so. For example, I equipped 3 catalysts on one character, but I could equip 1 catalyst here. I can equip another catalyst here for you. I could equip another one here for you. I could equip one here. We've got 4. I've equipped 4 catalysts, and guess what? I could go for a second one. I go for a second one as MC, so now I have 5 catalysts and I'm still a 6 out of 7 power limit. So it's up to you to kind of choose if you want to really beef up one character or you want to spread them out between a whole team. This is where the flexibility comes in terms of how you want to be dealing damage, and it kind of tailor the game to your kind of style again, which is why I like the ambush skill system, because you can save those ambush skills and use them when appropriate. If you want to save it for 1 or 2 characters that rely on the ambush skills to deal a lot of damage, then you can do that. And don't forget, catalyst effects will happen after you use an ambush skill. So once you swap in, then they become effective. After equipping a catalyst, using ambush skills in combat will trigger the catalyst effect. Triggering the catalyst effect on the same character again only refreshes the duration and does not stack the buff provided by the catalyst. So essentially, this catalyst and ambush skill is really the absolute core of the game. You can save up your ambush skills or use them as necessary, and as soon as you ambush in with another character, the catalysts will then become active. The catalyst skills will become active. So you can really pick and choose a lot of how you want to be playing and interacting with this game in terms of its damage. It's really straightforward and it's really simple, and I'm not gonna lie, I kind of like the simplicity of this. I really do. It rewards you for playing the game and leveling your crisis levels, and it doesn't mean that you're reliant on spending lots and lots of stamina for days, wasting it away on gear that you roll for that ends up being trash. I know for me, one of the biggest reasons why I stopped playing gacha games at any point in time is because I get tired of rolling on nothing for days, wasting days of my time and stamina. Here, it is so much easier to level up characters, get them equipped and get them going and get them set pretty quickly, which honestly I think is a W. It means you're spending less stamina to build characters and more time actually playing the game itself. The other thing that's important to mention is the use of silver crafts. Now, these are things that you can find when you're out exploring the world. You could be exploring the world, you can see a silver craft, and you can obtain it using this little ability that you have here to be able to grab things. By the way, this is also the ability you use to open chests from afar. So you don't have to walk up to chests to open them. You could just do them from kind of where you're standing. That's a W quality of life change, by the way. And you can get these things called silver crafts. Now, these are equipables and they're passive. So you equip them, they have a skill that they do, they have their own crit rate, crit damage, that sort of thing, and they just work in battle. You don't have to think about it, they just automatically do their thing. So they're kind of like a little passive there for you to do. So that's like a little cheeky bonus is equipping cool silver crafts. Now let's talk a little bit about the combat game modes that they currently have. There are 2 main ones. There is an Abyss style combat mode, and there is a roguelike. So the Abyss one is one that I showed you to kind of demonstrate the combat to begin with. It's called Deep Incognito, right? It's this. It is 10 Is this 10? It is 10. I can count. It's 10 stages like of increasing difficulty with characters that you will go through. So obviously you start at level 15 and ends at level 70 and you get first time completion rewards. This is the Abyss style. It's honestly pretty straightforward. With level 20 characters, a full team level 20, I got to T6. Okay, and I didn't die because I was taking lots of damage. I was dying because I ran out of time. I simply was not dealing enough damage at my current level, so obviously I'm going to do that. I'm really interested to see how this scales as you get towards, like, you know, your level 70. So I'm going to be continuing to play and continuing to experience what this is like. But so far, this has been kind of a blast to go through. It's really fun. It's getting me more acquainted with the characters and their kits and how they all work. And yeah, I can't wait for levels 7 to 10 to absolutely beat my ass. And I will report back on exactly how that goes. The other combat mode is this one. It's called Case Simulation. It is the roguelike and it works exactly kind of how you would imagine. So here we go. I'm setting up my team. I'm adjusting my catalyst. I'm using the quick equip button because I'm lazy. Okay. Power limit exceeded. Okay, get rid of this. Restore that one. All right, let's go. When you start off in this roguelike mode, you will have a Silvercraft, which you will be able to equip and have. Yippee. And you'll be able to start your deductions. That's how this works. You will go through doing 13 different deductions. And what I love is that it actually uses the city itself as the map to do the roguelike, which I think is totally awesome. So here we go. We have a trial here, which of course is combat. Yippee! Okay, nice. And now we could choose another Silvercraft. Let's just have a look at... Ooh, what do we want? A Hunter's Dirk. Pierces enemy within the attacks of minor fulminant damage. Okay, let's choose this. You can collect multiple copies to make your current Silvercraft stronger. So the blue ones are for Silvercrafts and the red ones are for inspirations.
Timing it.
And here we go. We have our inspiration. So we can kind of choose all characters and Silvercrafts in the team gain crit rate. Silvercraft Ignis damage 25%. All characters and Silvercrafts in the team gain crit rate +6 and Ignis damage +8. Ooh, let's just do +12 general crit rate. Yeah, so we have a burst, Ignis. 2 Ignis ones, we'll go for bursts. And of course, the more of this type you will get, the more buffs you can unlock by following that same path. So if you're familiar with roguelike, you know exactly how this works. Let's go for this. We're going for purple. So the more Silvercrafts you get of the same type, the more that you can level them up. Yippee, let's do that. We'll make them purple. That's fun. And here we go. We have another burst inspiration, which will unlock 2 of 2 right here, 2 echo points. All characters and Silvercrafts in the team gain crit rate +20%. And basically, you can keep doing this. So if I get another burst, I can go to the echo points 3. I'll have the 3rd one, 5, and so on and so forth. It's really straightforward roguelike, and honestly, it's satisfying. I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is with these games. I just love a good roguelike. I really do. They're always the most like fun game modes to play for me. They have a lot of like repeatability, and it's just kind of cool. Right now we could choose if we want to go for more Silvercrafts or we want to go for more inspirations. And basically that is like a very quick summary of how this roguelike works. So for my roundup thoughts on combat, it's simple. But its simplicity is what makes it actually quite appealing. There is a huge focus on parrying, dealing lots of quick attacks, and the huge focus on using ambush skills. Your ambush skills are the most important thing. Your catalysts only work when you use ambush skills. Everything is about the ambush, and I think it's pretty cool. It's pretty nice. It's simple, but I quite like it. I'm someone, I'm considered a bit of a combat tourist when it comes to games, right? And honestly, I dig the system. I really do. I don't think it's perfect. I definitely think this can be critiqued, and I'll probably make a follow-up video actually talking more about the combat and going in a bit more depth about it. But for right now, as a general oversight view, I need a bit more time with it to understand it a bit more. But I'm liking what I'm seeing so far. And now let's round everything up with the exploration, the world itself. And I already hinted at the beginning of this. This is a Victorian inspired city, Silvernia. And as someone who lives in the United Kingdom, who lives in a Victorian town, they have absolutely nailed the inspiration behind this. This is such a pretty game. It has so much detail. These people who are designing this map, these people are nerds when it comes to Victorian architecture. Like, bro, this was like something out of bloody Hogwarts, man. Like, it looks awesome because it's actually quite hard. There's one thing where it's like coming up with like an own unique style, which in itself is very difficult. But then there's replicating a style that already exists in the world and being able to put it into a game and people believe it and people see it and be like, oh yeah, that's like Victorian. Like, I know where that's from. And especially as me, who's someone who lives in a Victorian town, it feels so genuine. And I'm honestly so shocked. And they've put so much detail. I will say, this is one of the most like beautiful like open world maps like in one of these kinds of games. Like, it is absolutely stunningly beautiful, and it gets even prettier when you go up into the sky as well, which brings me on to the traversal. Okay, obviously we have a little Pegasus here, right? We got a little mount, and we can sprint through the city. We can sprint through the city. We have a little stamina bar. If you want to refill the stamina, we could drift. Oops, I'm crashing. We could drift and we get like a massive speed boost as we drift in and around the city, which is itself pretty awesome. And now if we go over one of these blue things on the ground, it lifts us into the air and we could start gliding. Pretty cool. Okay, if we want to fly, we have a stamina bar we can use to fly up in the sky, but it doesn't last for very long, but you can get pretty high. And the gliding lasts quite a long time. Like, it has a very like low descent rate, so you can actually cover a lot of distance pretty quickly. And it has something unique about the way that this whole like flying system works as well. So you are able to like, ooh, oh my god. You are able to go over these other like blue things and regain more stamina and continue to fly. So essentially you kind of have like unlimited flight. And at first I was like, I don't know if I like this. Just give us like unlimited flight or like a bigger stamina or something like that. And then I think, well, actually it's not really like that bad. Like, you could cover like most of the city in like a couple of like bounces, I want to call them, in a couple of bounces, and it feels normal. Like, it feels nice, and it doesn't feel like it's that restrictive. There isn't really like a point in time where like I'm having to land. Like, you don't really have to land ever, because there is always like a little point where you can go and wee get some more stamina and you absolutely keep going. Like, there's so many of these blue portals everywhere that it feels fine. And you have these, of course, little tubes which you can go and glide in that take you around the city. They don't cost any stamina if you want to do that. And I actually have come to really like it. I've actually come to like the system quite a lot, because I thought it would be restrictive, but it's not. And I actually quite like it. Like I said, like, yeah, there's never really a point where I'm like, oh, like, essentially for all intents and purposes, it's basically like unlimited flight. Like, you see how many of them that I'm like walking over, and it's quite a lot. So I think it's pretty cool, and I think it's just like a measure that lets you you know, ooh, traverse the city in a cool way, because you can't jump. When I press the jump button, I get my mount. Okay, there is no jump in this. You can't scale walls or anything like that. I can jump off a building though, because you can glide down like this. right? But you can't jump, you know. I can't climb up a building. I do have, conveniently, a grappling hook, and there are places that you can attach to, okay, to reach higher places where it's appropriate, where it makes sense, which I like, which I think is fine. But again, in these games where there's no jump button, I'm always like, maybe I'd like one. But you can vault over stuff and to climb to high places, and then you can use your mount, your horsey over here to fly and glide. But because we could do this flying and glide thing, I'm actually like not particularly like mad that we can't scale like buildings and walls. Like, it would be kind of pointless. Like, what is the point? And it means that when we're like on the ground, we actually get to observe the city, right? We actually get to observe the city and walk around, because it is so goddamn pretty. Like, it's really nailing that Victorian dark fantasy kind of like vibe in every single aspect, and I think that's pretty cool. And also, there's a lot of buildings in the city, right? But you know what you can do? You can literally buy buildings. Yep, you could straight up be like, that building looks cool, I'm going to buy it. There we go. Let's go track this building real quick. Let's just go buy. I'm feeling like I want to buy an estate. That's what I'm feeling right now. I want to buy an estate. Give me a house. Give me a building. I want to own this city. And you can. There are different districts, and you can spend money, spend resources to buy property, and you can invest in them, and you become an investor, and it works on actual real world time. So essentially the way that works is that once you like buy a property, it will generate revenue every single actual real day, so that when you log in, you can collect it the next day. And the more that you level up that property, the more you'll get back every single day that passes. So it literally is this, it's a stocks. You're investing into your real estate stocks, and it uses real days. So that's like another incentive that they have for you to come in and log in every day, rather than to like farm gear. They want you to log in for your stocks and investments in the city. Here we go. Here's one right here. I can look at it right here. 14 Riverside Lane, market price 8 million. Yes, sir. I think I will have that. Thank you. This is mine now. And this will generate me 165,000 a day. So I will make this back in like, I don't know, time, a number of days, a little bit. But, you know, I'll be able to incur more charges over time. And it's just a nice little thing. Being able to buy properties, being able to buy stocks. I currently have John's Pizza, which is going to make me 2 million a day almost. So I see that like as an absolute win. Every day I'm earning 2 mil. Listen, I'll make back my investment in no time. I'll just simply invest in more houses. Easy. I will say one thing when it comes to the open world is that, as you can see, there aren't any cars that really travel along the road that much. We do have the trams, and it's not densely populated with people, and I can understand why of a game of this scale, where they've clearly prioritized optimization and performance. They've wanted to ship this game with this beta, so it's going to be able to run properly. And I will say, I am amazed at how smooth this is running so far. I have absolutely had lag spikes, and I have absolutely had stutters. I don't have the best PC hardware. I have a 4070 Super, but I'm still rocking a Ryzen 3 700X, okay? So I'm aware that I'm kind of bottlenecked a little bit by my CPU performance, but for an Unreal Engine 5 game that's in its first beta to be running very functionally, I think is extremely impressive. And I understand why they would have to tone down the cars to not really have them on the roads, to have less density of people, and also why they've had to make the map maybe a little bit less interactable. This is a very, don't get me wrong, this is a very, 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 very pretty map, and it is gorgeous to go through, but there isn't like a lot of things to do with like every building and street you see. Like, you can kind of look on the map and you could be like, there are places, right, that you can like go into, like some of these shops here, for example. Here we go. Obviously, there are shops you can actually go in and interact with and buy things from. And look at the absolute insane detail in this place. Like, this place absolutely rules, dude. Like, I'm so impressed with the quality of like the models and basically everything that's in here. I could buy something from you. I could buy what here. I've got some little things that we can do. We can buy that are useful for us. So there are shops you can enter, right? There are shops you can enter. You can talk to some NPCs. But it's not every shop, but it's not every street, and it's not the most lively street imaginable. And I think that's probably like my biggest complaint when it comes to Silver Palace, is the fact that they've had to kind of sacrifice that liveliness a little bit for the sake of performance. And I don't mind that. If that's the cost that they have to do, I'd rather a game that runs well as intended than a game that is full and can't run at all and is a buggy mess, because then people will just be talking about that forever. People will just be talking about how much the game is stuttering and doesn't run, rather than like, you know, the actual good things of the game. So here we go. We got a John's Pizza. This is a building that I invested in to which is kind of funny. But again, it's so pretty. I'm not really that mad because like I genuinely enjoy just wandering through the city. Like, I've never really felt this way about one of these kinds of games, where I've just had fun looking at the architecture of the actual city, because they've done such a good job with it. And again, the OSTs in the background are awesome. The OSTs are really amazing. A lot of classical influences. Here we are. This is inside our house. Look how pretty this is. Guys, look how pretty this is. It's so beautiful. Dude, look at this bar.
Take a sip or two and you might end up with unexpected intel.
It just looks so good, and the cozy vibes of that. I wish I could sit in the chairs. That's what I want. Let me, yo, Silver Palace devs, let me sit in the goddamn chairs. Okay, that'd be cool. And here's August. This is also a playable character. He's the bartender. He's very cheeky. He's just like a support character. And just like everything here just looks so much detail. And it is such a vibe. And again, the fidelity of the characters. I wasn't too sure how I feel about the faces. I think there needs to be more shadows underneath the hair when it comes to the faces. But I've actually grown to quite like the eyes of these characters. But I think it's the shadows that are throwing me off a bit. But the actual outfits themselves, again, so well designed, such high fidelity, such high quality. I want to handshake whoever made them, because I'm a huge fan. I'm a huge, massive fan. Like the lead designers of this game cooked triple their salary. Okay, they absolutely knocked this out the goddamn park. Okay, I'm super happy about it. But anyway, that's my first initial thoughts when it comes to the Silver Palace beta. I will be playing more tomorrow. This is a day one thoughts and opinions. Day one thoughts and opinions. And so far I have a lot of positives, but we're gonna see how that progresses as I play more and more into it. I level up my characters, I can get more into the combat, more into the gameplay, and have a bit more of a critical thought to everything. But right now, those are my thoughts. Thank you so much to the Silver Palace devs for allowing me into the beta and sponsoring some streams and videos. It's been a pleasure, and also for them to be open to criticism. They've also been devs that are like, hey, we also want your feedback too, and you're allowed to put them in your video. So that is a mega win in my eyes. Huge. I appreciate it. Thank you guys for watching. If you want more Silver Palace updates and all that good stuff, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. I appreciate y'all. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace. Hello, this is me, Editor Cap, in the morning. It is 8 a.m. and I realized something really important. Cap, what about the gacha system? Yeah, it's not in this beta. It's not in CBT1. We get given the characters after like logging in and completing certain activities. That there is no way to intro the gacha system right now. So I'm not really going to talk about it or discuss it because it's not in the beta. And when the devs are ready to like officially release all the information, then we'll talk about it. But yeah, but no gacha. So hey, I guess we're just talking about the combat and the gameplay for now and the narrative. So that's yay. No, hey, I'm cool with that.
Twitch.tv/Captain Cabinetz, Captain Cabinetz.